Welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. We are so happy that you're able to jump on our Computer Science Week and using Minecraft today. We have so many classes and individuals joining us from across Canada, mainly in Ontario this afternoon, but they can be joining us from anywhere in Canada right now. And that's so amazing. Right now, we're actually up to about 150 classes on the call listening to me, which is so crazy to think about it. And we're going to have even more joining us throughout. So as we're waiting for those classes and individuals to join us, we have a Minecraft quiz set up just to have some fun right now and get us familiar with posting our answers to a link. And we've posted the link in our chat, and it is called edtech.team/Minecraft. And if you were with us before, maybe this morning, you know that we want you to answer all of your questions or ask your questions in this link. We're trying to not have you push your questions in the speech bubble on Teams. We want you to click on the link and answer our questions this way. So the first question we already have on the screen asks, Minecraft was created in how many days? So what we want you to do is click on that link, edtech.team/Minecraft, put your name in there, and send through an answer. And we're going to start giving some shout outs with answers that are coming through. And if you don't know, we just want you to take a guess. We're definitely happy with guesses. So we can see some slowly coming through. And like I said, we have over 150 classes on right now. So if you did the math, we have 150 classes and 20 students in each class. That is a lot of participants today and a lot of students getting into Minecraft.
And Coulter, I'm going to pop in to let everybody know that, well, once again, you are not alone here. You have myself, Emily, and Mike hanging out here today while we play trivia and then dive into Minecraft. And I want to do an extra special shout out because it's not only Ontario here today, it's also Quebec, as well as so many other provinces. We've got lots of people across Canada, a lot of students across Canada joining us here.
Awesome, Emily. Thanks for chiming in. And I love seeing some individuals get their answers in really quick. Like Abrila was the first person to post their answer, and Ayat and Mudasar. And so I'm doing my best on some of your awesome names, and I'm trying my best, and they are unique. So I apologize if I say them incorrectly. My name is Coulter, by the way, and it's kind of a unique name. So I understand when people don't pronounce it correctly. I don't take it personal. I know they're trying, so just bear with me, okay? So we love seeing Lindsay's chimed in and with a correct answer, which is great. And Harris and Ryan and Miles and M responded with 2 months with a question mark. Great guess. Love seeing that. And Tara, wow, so many answers have came in so quick. Amanda, great guess with 75 days. Ashley with a correct answer. And Alliston from Union Smart Rock. I believe that's the name of the school. I mean, Smart Rock's 4. Yeah, that's awesome. Great guess. You are correct, by the way. And I think
Coulter, are you ready for the answer?
We are. Let's post that answer. It took only 6 days for Minecraft, the first edition, to be created. Wow, crazy, right? Only 6 days to build this multi-billion-dollar company, essentially, with so many users and so many players building and creating in Minecraft. All right, let's check our next question. What is the default player skin called? Now, this might be a challenging question. Instead of what, we can say what, but we could also give it a name. So maybe we'll go who. What is the default player skin called? So you're given a skin, and their hint is that it's a name, and maybe we could say who. And let us know by clicking that link. If you're just joining us, you can click on the link and post your answers through our form. And I love seeing Brian with the first answer in that is correct, and Hassan and Sana, awesome. And Grace is back from St. Noel. Thank you, Grace, coming back. I know you were there this morning, so welcome back from St. Noel.
And Coulter, I'm going to pop in for a second because some people might be new here in Teams Live. And you're hearing Coulter say, like, click on this link. And you're like, but I'm watching a video. Where is the link? You will see a speech bubble pop up in our Q&A that has a blue text. That blue text, if you click it, it's going to open up into your web browser and you'll be able to find that form.
Yeah, thanks for pointing that out, Emily. And what's important to know is that you don't have to keep clicking that link to continue answering our questions. You can actually, once you post or submit your response, you can resubmit another response. So you will really only have to click on that blue link once and then continue to resubmit your answers. And I love seeing all of these come in, like Natalie from Mrs. Kim's class. And as I go down, we have Miss McGlynn, grade 5-6, with a correct answer. Thank you so much. And ooh, wow, we have so many students that are chiming in. My computer, just like this morning, it slowed down so much. But right now we do have a bunch, and I think we're ready for our answer. So Emily, are you able to put our answer on the board? It is Steve. That is your default character. It is Steve. And there's also another character, which is Alex, and I see a lot of us put Alex in there too. But Steve is the original default. So great answers, everybody. Here's your next question. Name the most precious thing found in Minecraft. What is the most precious thing found in Minecraft? You might
Okay, Coulter, I'm jumping in. So as our morning crew might have known, or how you might now find out, I don't play Minecraft. I've never played it before this morning. I got my feet wet a little bit. And this afternoon, I'm super excited to dive in. But there might be other people here who have never played Minecraft before. And you're going to show us the way. But even though I haven't played Minecraft before, I think I know the answer to this question. Can I give it a go?
Yes, please do. What is the most precious thing in Minecraft, Emily?
So I would say it's probably battery and Wi-Fi. Is that right?
What do you think out there, folks? Is Emily correct with this? Is it Wi-Fi? It is very precious, Emily, but I don't think you're correct. I think we're looking for something in your inventory. But the word precious, it means that it's pretty special and it's pretty important, right? So I thought that maybe the animals are precious because I think I have a little dog and I think that he is super precious. But I see some of these answers coming in, like Aliza from Miss Zarokin's class. I'm pretty sure you might just call her Miss Z, maybe Miss Z's class. Thank you very much. And I love seeing some emojis, like Shirani put the correct answer with a little emoji there. Good way to use your resources. And I love seeing like Finn has got a correct answer and Kyle, and there's some great guesses too. We're really close on some of these guesses. And yeah, I think we could probably say that some of these are pretty precious. So let's put up the answer that we found to be the most precious. It is diamonds. But I definitely see that emeralds are precious in there as well. And I see that some people have put the nether, and that's okay too. So good answers, everybody.
All right, Coulter, we are at the top of the hour, but I think we can squeeze in 2 more questions for everybody.
All right, let's squeeze in 2 more questions. We'll do some rapid fire ones. How many seconds does it take for coal or charcoal to fuel a furnace? So resubmit your answer, pop a number in there. How many seconds do you think it takes? Is it really quick? Is it only 1 second? Or do you have to be patient? Maybe wait 20 seconds.
And Mike, I'm going to call on you because we haven't heard from you yet today. Do you know the answer? Like, have you ever calculated or timed it out how long it takes to fuel a furnace?
I never have, but normally when I get stuck with this, I normally ask the kids in my class what they think it would be because they know Minecraft a lot better than me. If I was to take a guess, maybe 2 minutes would be my guess. That'd
be yours. All right, Coulter, what are some students saying?
Well, we have Rima with a correct, with a great guess. We have a great guess from Rima. You're a couple seconds up. Mark looks to be the first person in with the correct answer. Great guesses, everybody. There are a handful of other ones coming in, like from Rachel and from Ben. You're super close, the both of you. We have Lindsay and Mac and Agura. Again, I apologize if I mispronounce your name. I'm trying to give you a quick shout out because you've got a great guess as well. I think we're ready to put the answer on the board though, Emily. And it is 8 seconds. 8 seconds. So great guesses. Even Mitchell from 4-5 EFI. Great guess. Thank you very much. And the last question before we get started today is, what grows on a sand block next to water? What grows on a sand block next to water? Now, the first time I heard this question, it really made me start thinking, okay, well, what grows in sand? And I had to start thinking about some things. And then I was wrong. I'm not going to lie. I was wrong. I guessed something that was incorrect. And that's okay, because in Minecraft, when we play and when we build and create and craft, and especially when we code, we are going to get some things wrong, and we just need to learn from those mistakes and try to build on that. So being incorrect is definitely okay with me, because I am incorrect sometimes as well. So I see a bunch of these answers rolling in that are correct, which is awesome, and we have some guesses coming in as well. I just need to scroll my mouse down a little bit further because everyone is chiming in right now, and folks, you wouldn't believe what's on my screen and how many answers are coming in. So it looks like, ooh, I like how Sanvi has answered all 5 questions at once, because my guess is that they're just a little behind. And great guess on this one, Sanvi. Great effort. Rebecca, great guess. Elizabeth with the correct answer. And Sahaj and Mudasar, great guesses. You are correct. Reese as well. All right, I think we're ready to pop this up. I see Dallas and Mark and Ryan. Great guesses. It is sugarcane. Sugarcane grows next to water on sand. So that was our fun, just sort of introduction to Minecraft while we waited for all of our hundreds of classes joining us this afternoon. I can't believe I'm saying hundreds of classes, including, we have some really special guesses from like St. Teresa. Miss McGlynn is back on. We have Mr. Taylor's class here. Awesome. Thank you very much for being with us. What else? We have 4-5 EFI. I already mentioned that one.
All right, Coulter.
So
are you ready to start diving in?
I think we're ready to start talking about what we're going to be doing this afternoon. And our goal today is to combine a discussion, a very important discussion about inclusion and equity, which are some big words, but we're going to be bringing 2 villages together. But first, we should probably introduce ourselves, because if you're going to listen to me for about an hour or so, and my colleagues and friends, Emily and Mike, then you probably want to know who we are a little bit. So my name is Coulter Lewis, and I was a primary school teacher. I taught in some really cool cities around the world, in Dubai and Melbourne, Australia. I also taught in San Francisco, and now I live in Toronto, Canada, which I'm sure some of you are pretty familiar with. However, I grew up, and I only moved out of Niagara Falls recently, so I actually grew up in Niagara Falls. So I don't know if any of you have ever been there before, but it's a pretty cool place to grow up and live. And I am now working with a company that we're on with. It's called EdTech Team Canada, and they are such a cool company. They bring this stuff to your classroom and help your teachers out. And I am also a Minecraft master trainer, which is kind of a cool designation. Don't you think that I get to play Minecraft for my job? Is pretty awesome, right? So I'm going to pass the mic over to Mike to explain who he is and just let you know what he's going to be doing today.
Hello, everybody. I just wanted to say welcome. Thank you very much. I'm going to be in the question and answer period there to help out teachers that need to ask some questions. I see Mr. Kraft. Him and I are going to connect here. So I'm from British Columbia. I'm all the way from the West Coast, so it's great to hang out with people from the East over here. I am a Flyers fan, Also a Raptors fan too. So I just wanted to say hello, and I'm going to pass this off to Emily.
And I think you just redeemed yourself, Mike, saying that you're a Raptors fan, because I don't know how the Flyers are going to feel with our crew here right now. I am Emily, everybody. I live not in Toronto. I live outside of Toronto in a small town, well, a fairly big town called Guelph. So if you know where that is, or you can find it on the map, shout out to everybody here from Upper Grand or Waterloo region or York region or Peel District School Board. They are nice and close to my heart, and I'm so excited to learn Minecraft with you. Unlike Coulter, who's a master Minecraft trainer, I have this much experience with Minecraft, so I am definitely a newbie. And if you're a newbie too, we will learn together, and Coulter's going to walk us through each step of the way.
Awesome. Thanks, folks. Now that you got to know a little bit about us, we want to know a little bit about you. So in our form, just let us know a few things. The first thing we want you to do is let us know what grade you're in. So post an answer. What grade are you in? We want to see who we're dealing with, what ages we're working with today. And my guess, and wow, some answers are coming in real fast. We have some 4th graders and some 7th graders, 8th graders, and we even have some students in 9 and 10 on the call. That's great. And we even have some younger students in like 4th grade. Wow. So we have some 9 and 10-year-olds on today. That's going to be working with some coding, which is amazing. Awesome. Thanks for chiming in, everybody. I think we can pop up that next question of, have you played Minecraft before? Let us know in the chat if you've played Minecraft before. And maybe you can let us know if you have coded before. You can just say yes, yes. Or you can tell us how many years you've played in Minecraft by saying yes, 5 years. I've been playing for about 8 or 9 years now. So I'm getting pretty decent at it. I like to think I'm pretty good, but I'm still improving. Every time I get on, I improve. So let us know, have you played Minecraft before? We see a bunch of answers coming in right now. You are so quick back in your screens. That's awesome. Just resubmitting your answers. It looks like we have a mixed bag of yes and of no. And my first time. Oh, we've got someone who's been playing for 7 years already, which is great. And this is my first time. Oh, awesome. Thanks for joining us. First timers. I love it. Great. All right. I think we're ready for our 3rd question. And Emily just jumped ahead of the one that we missed. But I would love to know if you're joining us virtually or from school. Are you face-to-face, or are you virtually joining us from, maybe you're calling from home, maybe you're calling from a friend or a family's house, maybe you're calling from the backseat of your parents' van and you've jumped on some Wi-Fi there on a hotspot and you're in a parking lot. I'm just being silly. However, that has happened before. So thank you for joining us. It looks like we have a bunch of students here in Ontario that have joined virtually. And we have some students. Wow, we have a lot of students from all over Canada today. That's so amazing, because right now, if it's 1 o'clock here in Ontario, it's just starting the day over on the West Coast in BC, and it's 10 o'clock there. So they've jumped on too. So we have some BC guests. That's great. So it looks like we have a mixed bag, some virtually, and some at school, like Aaliyah in grade 4. Welcome. Thank you for being here.
So Coulter, now that we know a little bit more about who is hanging out with us today, I think we have some really important questions to ask before we dive into Minecraft. And they might have big words and words that you've never seen before, but I think we want to encourage everybody to give their best go on it, and you're going to be able to share out some more answers as well, right?
Yes, I will definitely help us through some of these questions that we're going to be working through today. But we want to see what your answers are. We really want to see how your understanding of some of these new vocabulary words. Some of these vocabulary words, like diversity, might be new to you. So we just want to hear what you think diversity means. So in that chat, resubmit your answer, and we want to hear, what does diversity mean to you? What do you know about diversity, and maybe why it's important to you, or we really just want to know, what does diversity mean to you? And as I wait and I see some of these answers come through, and if you don't know, that's okay. Thanks for letting us know. We'd love for you just to follow along right now and listen to some of these answers that your peers from across Canada are going to respond with. Like Roman means that it's a difference. Yeah, there's a difference, Roman. Thanks for chiming in. And as we see some, so Rima, great answer. It means putting differences aside and being able to tolerate other people's views. Great answer. And Cheyenne, it means understanding that each individual is unique. Great answer. Thanks for chiming in. And what else do we have? Vinyl, I hope I pronounced that correctly. Vinyl, maybe? A lot of different things living together. You're right, and that's so amazing, isn't it? I live in downtown Toronto, and actually, Toronto is considered one of the most diverse cities in the world. And I am so proud to be a part of that. And it's so cool that I could go to out my door, and if I head east, I head into Koreatown. If I head south, I head down into Chinatown. If I head a little bit north, I head over to Little Italy. And if I head west, or if I head east, sorry, I head into Greektown. So I've got so many different people living here, and so diverse. It's so cool to see different cultures and different people coming together. I love some of these answers still coming in, like Arorhi. Again, I hope I pronounced your name correct, but diversity is to include different people and different things, where there is a mix of people in a place. Awesome. Great answers, everybody. I think we're ready to move on to another question. And the question is, this is a tough one too, because this might be a different vocabulary term for you. Some of you have never maybe heard this term, and it's important that we have a discussion about this term. And the term is, what we're asking is, what is bias? What does it mean to be biased, or what is the definition of bias to you? Can you help explain what the word bias is for us? I love seeing some answers come through. And if you don't know, that's okay. That's what we're here. That's why it's important to have a discussion about this, is so that we begin to learn these terms and begin to embrace diversity and embrace other people's uniqueness. So many.
And Coulter, I'm going to jump in because I see and I'm looking at all of these answers, and there's so many great answers that Coulter wants to share. But there's also a lot of people being like, I'm just going to write in this form so I get a shout out. And I know you have some rules and restrictions on who gets shout outs and who doesn't. Can you explain kind of how that works, Coulter?
Yeah, I'm looking for shout outs for individuals that are writing their name properly and then providing an answer that is what I would deem their best guess, or their best, something that is what they're actually a thoughtful answer. I'm looking for those. It doesn't have to be correct, but if it's thoughtful, and I know that you've taken some time, like Safir here has wrote that bias is a tendency to lean in a certain direction, either in favor or against something. So I really want to see those types of answers where you're just trying to make a really good guess. Those are how I'm going to give you a shout out. Like Maya, bias could be a preference of being in favor of something. And you're right, when we're biased, like Evan has written, that it might be in disproportionate favor or in weight against an idea, usually in a way that is closed-minded or prejudiced or even unfair. Great answer, Evan. And Shiza has written that bias means when you don't include someone because of who they are or what you think they are. Right? It comes down to really not understanding individuals or cultures and your bias against that. And it's so important that we combat our biases. And what I mean by that is it's important that we educate ourselves about things that we don't really understand, but we somehow think a little bit negative about it. Right?
And Coulter, I found one I want to share. And it's from Baba, and it's treating one group different or unfair than another group or a thing. So looking at one group, however we're going to group them, and we know that there's lots of different ways we can group people, we can group communities, we can group countries or the world, and kind of putting a different expectation on one group than another when that expectation might not even have needed to be there. I thought that was a really great, insightful answer.
Yeah, that is great. And we're going to be talking about this a little bit more as we begin to code in Minecraft. But it's so important that we keep this in the back of our mind as we go through life, actually, not just today in Minecraft, but that's where we're going to highlight it. But it's important that we combat our biases and that we try, and I see all of these answers coming through, that it's saying that being unfair to a person or a group of people. And that's really what we're trying to combat, is not being unfair, is that we want to make sure that we are fair and equal to everybody. So I think we have one more question before we get started. And the question is, what does inclusion mean? So you can see that we have a little pattern here. We asked, what is diversity? What is bias? And now what is inclusion? And what does inclusion look like to you? What does inclusion look like to you? And I've got to scroll all the way down because I've got so many great answers coming in.
Well, and Coulter, while you're finding some answers, Mike, I'm going to put you on the spot over here. What does inclusion mean to you, or what does it look like? I know you're inside an elementary school, you work with students and teachers every day. What does this word mean to you?
For me, I think it's the biggest piece is just making sure, the golden rule, you know, making sure that you're treating everyone how you would like to treat or how you would treat yourself. I know we're coming up to the holiday season as well, and it's really important to just, for me, the message I try and give to my class and my friends and everybody is just making sure that everyone's a part of the team. If we're all a part of the team together, we're feeling included, we're feeling like we're all kind of serving the same goal, and we're doing it together is my big message.
I like that. I like that togetherness. Coulter, what are some of the students of the 650 classes hanging out with us right now saying?
650 classes. That's amazing that we're able to come together and have a discussion like this, because it's so important that we are inclusive, that we are bringing and we are treating everyone equally. It looks like we have some answers coming through, like I'm still on the diversity because I had to scroll all the way down, and it seems some bias. Let me get to the inclusion piece. There we go. Inclusion means when you let someone fit in and make sure they are part of everything. Thanks, Reed. We have Priya from 6B. It looks like 06B, maybe. Inclusion is when you include everyone, and it looks like everyone being together without treating someone different and being nice to everybody. Sebastian, inclusion is when everyone is respectful to each other. I like that one, Sebastian. Great answers. Noah has gone on the same track as what Mike has said, that we want to treat people the way you want to be treated. Right? Such good answers here. Priscilla, inclusion is when you're open to new people. For example, you can include people of all ages to hang out because the more, the merrier. You're right. That's awesome. Miss Arnonis, amigos? I hope I pronounced that correctly, but that's a little shout out to you. Include people. If no one wants to play when someone, then you ask them to play, letting everyone play. Thank you, Miss Arnone. I hope I got that correct. Farine, inclusion means that all people, regardless of their abilities, disabilities, or healthcare needs, have the right to be respected and appreciated. Awesome. So these are such important conversations that we're looking to have with our students and with our parents and with our friends and with our peers and the people next to us, right? So it's not just enough to say, oh, well, I include people. It's about having that conversation if you don't see that happening. If you see someone being biased, we want to be anti-biased. We don't want to just be not biased. We want to be against individuals, and we want to make sure, that we are against the thought of being biased. We want to make sure that we are open-minded and that we encourage others to be open-minded as well. So I think we're ready to start moving on. These are such great answers, and we're going to come back to this in a little bit. We're going to come back after we get into Minecraft and start coding and start building there. We really want to make sure that we can come back and have a continued discussion about that. So this is where we're going to see what pathway you're going to take. So if you have the Minecraft Education Edition version downloaded to your computer, and particularly for today, we really need you to have this newer version. Well, it's not newer, but it's the most up-to-date version. And it will see, as soon as you log in, you'll be able to see the hour of code on your home screen. So that's how you know if you have this up-to-date version. If you do not have that up-to-date version, that's okay. We've created an awesome lesson in coding for you to go and do on your own. And you don't need to have a sign-in. You don't need to have a program downloaded. It's on the internet, and you can head over to code.org and click on our link that's in the chat, and you can follow our lesson plan that we've created for you today to celebrate Computer Science Week. But and you know what, maybe Emily, maybe you can jump in here and give your explanation on this, because I think you do such a great job as well.
Yeah, because we know your teachers have been working hard to see if we can get Minecraft on your computer, and some of you may and some of you may not. So if you see that hour of code when you log in, you are good. You're going to stay here and hang out with Coulter. Now, if you can't log in, you don't have Minecraft for Education Edition downloaded, you don't see the hour of code, you don't know how to log in, you don't have your password, you're stuck, you're confused, you're not sure, we are going to encourage you to join us over at our code.org version. And I love the code.org version because I don't need to download Minecraft, but I can still play Minecraft and I can still code in it. So if you look at the speech bubble, you're going to see a blue link that you're just going to click on and you're going to follow your way through. Teachers, if you shared with your class that we were going on to pathway number 2 today, you are going to go ahead and click on that link and let us know in the Q&A if you are stuck. We are there. Mike and I are busy behind the scenes answering your questions. So if you do not see that hour of code, you're going to come over and hang out with us at code.org. If you do see the hour of code, Coulter is going to get you started.
Awesome. Thanks, Emily. So yeah, if you are able to log in and start and see that hour of code. Now, this is where we want to sort of differentiate, which means we might have two individuals on the call right now. Basically, we have the people that already know Minecraft and are quite good at Minecraft, and then we have individuals that are beginners, and that's great. We want the beginners because we want you to get to that next level. And I'm going to walk those beginners or those individuals that are still a little bit iffy on what to do in Minecraft or even what to do with coding. So if you've never coded before, but you've played Minecraft, I still encourage you to walk with me through the steps. And I promise I'll go as quick as possible to get you in there and coding right away. But if you are very comfortable with Minecraft and coding, you can go ahead and click on Hour of Code, and then we are going to begin bringing two villages together by coding. So once you log in, and again, this is for individuals that can do this competently on their own, can sit there right now saying, yeah, I'm ready to go. I know about this and I've coded in Minecraft before. You can head over to Hour of Code. Then once you click on that, we want you to click on the Hour of Code 2020 version. And once you're in the 2020 inclusion version, you're going to be looking for individuals that have question marks above their head. And you're going to click on them like you would click on a villager to talk to them. And you can start the activity. Okay, and again, by pressing C to code in Minecraft, that's how you get your coding screen up. If any of this does not make sense to you, that's perfectly okay. You're going to follow me right now. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start sharing my screen while you're logging in and making sure that you can sign into Minecraft using your education email. And I'm going to pop my screen up in just a second so you can see what I'm seeing. And again, we need to make sure that we have this Hour of Code option right here in front of you. If you do not, we encourage you to take on pathway number 2 and head over to code.org and complete our lesson that we've created for you there. But if you are in here and you do have the Hour of Code, let's get rolling. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to click on Hour of Code 2020 Inclusion. So again, once you sign in, you click on Hour of Code, and then we click on Hour of Code 2020 Inclusion. Hopefully we don't mistakenly click on the 2019 version. We want the 2020 version. So I click on that, and then it's going to give me some options here on the right-hand side, and I want to create the world. So I'm going to create my world because I know it's going to take a second for me to create my world, and it's just going to take a second to load here. But again, what I want you to do on your screen is once you log in, click on Hour of Code, and then click on Hour of Code 2020 Inclusion version. And it should start loading up Minecraft. And once it loads, I want you to just stop wherever you are, just stop and watch my screen, because I'm going to go through the introduction with you, and I'm going to do it so when it's your turn, you can sort of skip through that introduction pretty quick. And I'm also going to show you how to code in Minecraft pretty quickly as well. So I think it's super important that once you are logged in, that you don't touch anything and you stop and you put your eagle eyes and your elephant ears on my screen. I hope a few of you went like this and gave me some elephant ears. That also lets me know that your hands are off your computer. And you can see here that, yeah, it takes a second. It's going to take a second for me to download or for me to upload my world. I'm just going to make sure that I have everything else closed out on my screen to make sure I'm not slowing it down on my end here, because we had so many great answers come in. So if you are into your Minecraft world, I will give you, while I'm loading, I will give you permission here just to get familiar with your controls. So how to move around in Minecraft. So the first thing you can do is make sure that you have the controls options on the left-hand side by pressing H. If you press the letter H, it'll show your controls on how to move. And if you press it again, it'll take away those controls. Okay, and we want to make sure we have good gamer posture, meaning I don't want to be typing like this or trying to move my hands across each other. I want to make my left hand on the left. If I divide my keyboard in half, my left hand will stay on the left side of my keyboard. And I want to use my left ring finger, so the finger next to my my pinky finger, I want to put that on the W. And that's going to move me forward, and the D will move me back. And the A I press with my pinky, and that moves me left. And the D I press with my middle finger, and that moves me right. So now I can walk up to my book. And again, no matter where you are, I know I told you that you can move around. I want you to stop. I want you to stop right now and have your eyes on my screen, because I know I'm going to talk for about 5 more minutes, but I'm going to show you all the things you need to know to succeed right now in Minecraft. Okay, thank you for putting your eyes on me. So what I want to do is I need to find, in this world, I need to find items with the question mark above their head, or villagers with the question mark above their head. So I can head over to my book, and I'm going to right-click it. Now, you might not be able to right click. I will go through those settings in just a moment, but again, we're just going to watch my screen. So here and throughout our workshop today, you're going to have a lot of writing and a lot of explanations on what to do. So I could read all this, but if I don't want to read, and I'm an auditory learner, meaning I like to learn when someone's speaking to me, I can press this book with this microphone here. You can see this book with a little microphone, and I can press that book, and it will open up what we call immersive reader. So immersive reader will actually read back the text that was on the screen. So now let's find out what our first step is.
This is a tale of two villages, the farming villagers to the east and the fishing illagers to the west. Both towns had enough food, and neither saw a reason to interact with their neighbor. This led to both towns fearing anyone or anything that was different.
So I can always press that little book with the speaker whenever I want something to be read to me. But for right now, I'm just going to read this for us. Okay, so I clicked on next, and it says, and so the villagers and illagers continued on the same way they always had, even as the world changed around them, until eventually the changes in their world could not be ignored. The villagers could no longer seem to grow enough crops, and the illagers found their fish supply dwindling. Neither town knew any other way to survive, and yet they were both too afraid to turn to their neighbor for help. Today, the villagers and illagers are still struggling with hard times. Perhaps with your help, they can learn to value their differences and find a new way forward together. So once I go through that, there is my first character with the question mark on the top of their head. So I head over to the character and I right click. And it says, you're here. Thank you so much for coming. The villages need your help. It will be hard work, but you won't have to do it alone. My small friend, the agent, will help you through the power of coding. However, before you begin, you must decide on how you communicate with your agent. Choose the coding language from the buttons below. So it's asking us to decide on how we want to learn to code. If you've never coded before, or you have coded a few times but have never tried Python before, I encourage you to use blocks. This is the way that we're going to succeed today because we don't have a super amount of time. So we are on a time limit, and we want to try to finish today, or at least get a couple tasks down. So we encourage you to use the blocks. So I'm going to click on blocks, and then it says, excellent. You can now instruct your agent to perform a task. Try coding the agent to move forward 4 spaces to the gold block. Okay, and notice on my screen there, it says press C to code. So I'm going to turn myself around so we can see things. And I'm going to press the letter C to code. And before I even begin that, though, I guess my question is, what is coding? What is coding? And maybe while this is loading, you can just turn to your neighbor and ask them or tell them what you think coding is. Does it mean to be a hacker? What does coding mean? And if you're by yourself, maybe you have someone next to you that you can talk to, or not next to you, or by yourself at home learning virtually. Maybe you have a family member or a friend nearby that you could tell them what you think coding is. I'll give another 5 seconds. So the way that I like to think of coding is that we're trying to program, or we're trying to change something on our computer screen. We want coding to give a set of instructions. When we code, we're providing instructions to change something. So the way I like to think of coding is actually by virtual Legos. So we're going to play some virtual Legos today, and we want to connect the pieces together. You can see on my screen here, I have my toolbox. I only have one item for my toolbox, so it probably means that I can only use this one, and I want to move it over. So I just click it and I drag it over. But like I said, it's like virtual Legos, so I need to connect them. So I put it into that little Pac-Man mouth, or my alligator mouth. And it said that I needed to move my agent 4 times. So I can click and I can drag it over, and I drag and drop it 4 times. 2, 3, 4. Now that seemed like a lot to move all 4 at once, especially if I wanted to just change this number from 1 to 4. Now either way is right. It doesn't matter. Either way will work. Right? But if I don't want to use any of this code here, I can just move it into this trash bin there. So again, when I want to code something and I want to change something on my screen, I can move my items from my toolbox into my workspace. Now, if I need a hint, I can use this little light bulb up here. But when I'm ready, I have to press this play button, which means on start. So this is my start button here, the big green button on the bottom right. So I click my on start button. You can see my agent, and my agents move forward. And it says, excellent, I think you two will work well together. What's this? It seems the agent has a gift for you. Oh, I love gifts. Open the coding window to accept the gift. Then you can plant it here in the center of the courtyard. Okay, so I'm going to press the letter C. Anytime I want to start some coding, I press the letter C. It's going to take a second to load for me. I don't keep pressing it. I pressed it once. I'm not going to keep pressing on my computer.
Coulter, I got a question for you.
Yes, what's your question?
I am playing Minecraft on an iPad, which means I don't have a keyboard in front of me. How the heck am I supposed to press C?
Good point, Emily. So on your iPad, you'll see at the top middle of your screen, you'll see a little robot or your agent. You'll see that in the top middle next to, I believe, the pause button or the speech bubble. So you'll see those 3 buttons in the top middle of your screen. We're going to press on our agent there. So now I want to, this is going to accept my gift. So all I need to do is bring my on start over here, or bring my accept gift, and I press play. So that's another line of code that I've written. And look, it on my screen, in my toolbox there, or my tool belt, I got a little plant, or what is called a sapling. I got an oak sapling. And it's asked to place the sapling down on the grass. So on my computer, to place an item, I would right click. And that might work for you. And a right click means if you're on a trackpad, it's going to be on the right side of your trackpad. Or if you're on a mouse, it's the right button on your mouse. Now I can easily just press that there, and it's going to drop down for me. It's going to ask me again if I want to try Python, and I don't today because I'm not super confident with Python. So I want to get really confident with my block coding first. And then it's going to give me a little communicator, which will help me. It's basically giving me a little transporter. So the caretaker has given me a transporter, and it's telling me to choose which, or that I can choose which gate to go through. That gate to the villagers, or this gate to the illagers. And you can go to both throughout the day. I encourage you, though, if you're starting for the first time, head over to the villager side first. The coding is a little bit easier. Okay, now what I wanted to do, though, is sometimes our screens or our computers have different controls. So to set my controls up, if you're on a Chromebook, you need to have your eyes on my screen right now, because I'm going to change my controls, because you'll have a tough time placing that item down. So I click on the escape button on my keyboard. So that's the top left of my keyboard. And I press escape. And then I press settings. And here I'm going to, on the left-hand side, go to where it says keyboard and mouse. So I pressed escape on my keyboard first, top left. Then I clicked on settings. And I can go down to keyboard and mouse right here. And this is where I'm going to change my buttons. So button 1 means left click. And button 2 means to place a block. Now, we actually won't be destroying anything in here today because we're going to be coding. So, but we might have to place that sapling down. So we can place the sapling down by clicking on it with our trackpad, which will be just to make it yellow. And then I click it again to make it button 1. And that's all you need to do today. Okay, we don't have to, even though it says unassigned, we're not going to be destroying anything in this world. We actually can't. So we are not going to worry about that destroy button. We want to make sure that we can change that place button. So again, I clicked on my escape button on my keyboard, settings, keyboard and mouse, and then I went down to my item block, my place item block, and I clicked it once with my trackpad to turn yellow, and I clicked it again with my trackpad to change it to button 1. And then when I'm all ready, I head back to my settings, and I should be able to place items down. So hopefully that's going to get you started. Now, what I'm going to do in just a second is I'm going to go radio silent, and I'm going to let you start exploring your 2 villages. So what, again, I want to do is I want to go around my villages to find the characters with the question marks. And there's going to be 6 characters with question marks, which means you have 6 tasks. And I'm going to right-click my character to talk to him, or left-click button 1. And I'm going to read the task. And then I'm going to start my activity. And so it's told me what to do. I start my activity, and I press C to code. And it'll bring up my coding screen, which we just saw. Now, if I'm having trouble, I can always go on to that character that has the question mark, and I can click again, and it will say get a hint. And I can get this hint where it will say follow the green dotted path. So it'll allow me to count how many blocks I actually need to use. Oops. How many blocks I need to use. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that I'm going to move my agent forward 6. And so that's, I don't want to really give you the answers here. I want you to explore yourself. But that hint really helped me out understanding how many blocks I needed my agent to move forward before I had my agent turn right. So again, I'm going to go radio silent, and I want you to start playing. And if you do have a problem here, you can always click on your character again and reset the activity. And that will start it over and allow you to try it again from scratch. Or if you're having a lot of trouble with it and you want to explore a different character, head on over and find another character with a question mark and start doing that task. Again, you have about 6 tasks in here that we want you to try to complete. If you only get 1 done, that's okay, not a problem. We're happy that you tried to get 1 done, and it does take some time. So again, I keep saying I'm going to go radio silent. This is the last time you're going to hear from me. I'm going to set my timer for about 22 minutes or so, and I won't come back on, but I will be playing in the background. So if you want to watch my screen and see what I'm doing, you can follow my screen. I'll do my best to go nice and slow, and I hope you enjoy yourself. Okay, and again, coding is a trial and error thing. So if we don't get it right the first time, that's okay. We can reset the activity and try it again. I also, last thing, I keep saying last thing, I should stop saying that. The villagers and illagers have so much important information to share with you. Make sure you read and listen to what they're saying. And it goes back to that discussion that we had earlier about biasing and inclusion and embracing diversity. Okay, my timer's set. I'm going to mute myself and have some fun with some coding in Minecraft. This is so cool that we get to do this together.
All right, everybody, if you can hear my voice, I am giving you your 2-minute warning. Coulter, I know I see your face and you're just like, Emily, I want to keep playing. But yeah, 2 minutes, everybody. So if you are trying your code, click that green button, give it a go, finish up whichever challenge you are working on if you can. If you get stuck, that's totally okay too. We're going to give Coulter and everybody here your 2-minute warning.
Okay, folks, that was my alarm. And that time went by so fast for me. I don't know how it did for you, but I didn't even get to finish everything. And that was okay with me because I know I've got a little bit of time tonight that I can go back and finish if I like. But for right now, it would be great if we could bring everybody back. So I'm going to put my screen on pause. And I did that by clicking the escape button in the top left. And that just paused my game for right now. And eventually I'm probably going to close my game down because I'm done playing for right now. I'm done coding for right now is what I mean, actually. So, sorry.
And I think that's a perfect time to pause or maybe save and exit because we're going to bring everybody back and we're going to have we're going to continue that conversation from before. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take over your screen, Coulter, so you can't play anymore. You got to be focused here now.
I think it's so important that we bring this back, though, and we have a discussion about what we learned and sort of what we saw in our villages today.
So, Coulter, do you think everybody's back here? I feel like you might have some cool Minecraft stuff with you. Shall we do a really quick bring everybody back here question of
what do I have in my hand right now? What item, what Minecraft item is this? And does it go this way, or which way am I supposed to hold this? But what item is this? Can you tell me what item I have? Throw that in the chat. Let's get, sorry, in the form. Let's get used to using our form again. And we would love to see your answers come through. Let us know, what item am I holding in my hand at the moment? And this lets me know that you came all the way back and you paused your game and you have your eyes back on me.
And Coulter, we've got a whole bunch of people guessing. We have Finn and Aaron Public School coming in and guessing. We have Manreet and Abdullah and Rima and Spark and Noor and Nathan and Tom and Donald and Kellen. So many guesses coming in. I think everybody's managed to find their form again. They're rock stars. So, Coulter, the answer, what were you holding for all of us non-Minecrafters?
This is a pickaxe. This is what helps us mine things.
I love it. All right, so what we're going to do next, and Coulter is going to help lead us in this discussion, is we've got 3 wrap-up questions for you. And if you're watching the clock, we've got about 20 minutes left of the lesson. So you stick with us, we're almost there. So Coulter, the first question I have for you and all of the students out here is, what did these villagers and illagers show you about inclusion?
Yeah, I think it was so important. I'm going to wait till we get a few answers in before we start talking about this, because I'd love to hear what you think. And I love how on PowerPoint it spell checks and corrects it for you, right, Emily?
Yes, I'm secretly, they're not seeing the screen right now because I am secretly going in and fixing that spelling.
I'm sure we had a couple individuals that picked up on that right away, like they picked up on my spelling of height this morning. So what did the villagers and illagers show us about inclusion today? What did they show us?
And Coulter, were you able to bring up your form again so you can do some shout outs? I know that's a lot of people's favorite parts, when you're able to share those amazing, thoughtful, insightful responses.
Yep, mine is just loading. It says that it's working on it. Hopefully, Madame Lisi's class over in Dalewood, St. Catharines, is still on the call. My old stomping ground. I know that area well enough, so it's pretty cool. Maybe Miss D'Agostino's class, 4-5, is still on the call as well, hopefully, and are able to chime in with their answers. I'm having a tough time jumping through this and seeing what's coming up.
That's okay, Coulter, because I've got a few that I want to share here with everybody too. So Ray David shared that they want to show each other their talents. There's lots of different strengths and weaknesses, both within the illagers and the villagers. And by sharing those talents or talking about those talents or strengths, we're able to build a better space, a better world for each other. Another one shared by Ryan is that the illagers and villagers show to not judge others by your knowledge, but more by who they actually are, or maybe their behaviors or your actual interactions with them, rather than just kind of thinking like, oh, well, that Ravager looks pretty scary. I don't want to go anywhere near. They're probably the ones causing the problems. And Coulter, I think that's also one of the challenges that you completed. Do you want to talk a little bit about that one?
Yeah, sorry, Emily. Which challenge about the inclusion piece? I mean, I tried to complete all. I did get 5 of them. So the one that I really like about the inclusion is about helping our individuals. We helped the villagers build that dock. So we included them in building the dock to support the them being able to fish for themselves, and for them to be able to have that equal stance, because without the dock they were unable to fish. So by being able to actually include them in that that activity and giving them the exact tools that they need allowed them to succeed. And I think that was really important. And I know that was my first activity that I did, but I thought that was really a valuable lesson right away, is that being equitable and being equal doesn't mean that we all get the same things. It means that we're all given the same tools to succeed. And I think that included providing a dock for our villagers. And it also actually did the same thing on the other side with the illagers, when I had to till the ground to help them learn how to farm. So we provided them with the tools and included them to learn about those tools. And I think
love that, Coulter. Are you ready for the next question? Do you think everybody else is ready for the next question?
I think so. And I got my form up and running, which is great.
I love it. All right. So the next question, Coulter, I want to ask you and everybody is, when we think about all of the challenges and all of the problems that the villagers and the illagers were having, who actually caused these problems? Might get a little bit deep here, but who actually caused the problems that the villagers and the illagers were facing? I think we give a couple seconds of quiet think time, and then Coulter, I'm coming back to you.
Thanks, Abdul. You were the first one in with the correct answer. Maybe we can start thinking about why that was the answer, though, Abdul. Why was it the answer? Who caused the problems, and maybe why?
And I love that, Coulter. Asking why and continuing to ask why really helps us kind of explore these conversations. And what we might find out is that some of your teachers might continue to ask these questions. You might want to continue to ask these questions as you continue to work through. Coulter, what other kind of answers are coming in?
I like Rama's. The person who actually caused the problem is the misunderstanding of both the villagers and the illagers. So it sounds like they're both in, like Tiana from Gatestone. The illagers and villagers have nothing against each other. They just going their separate ways doesn't help each other, though. So they cause their own problems that way. And Vienna, both of them, because neither of them wanted to ask for help. Maybe they were too scared to go near each other, like Nina mentioned, and they didn't really get to know each other, but they just assumed, because they had this biased opinion about one another, that they couldn't help each other out. So once they started helping each other out, they began to succeed. So they learned about their biases, they educated themselves, like when I was talking about, or when we did the Ravager, when Ravager met the different characters, they combated that bias and said, oh, well, the Ravager isn't a bad person or a bad character or a bad animal. We just assumed that based on the way that it looked and how big it was.
And Coulter, you're using that word again. You're using that word bias again. And I've got one last question for everybody to have that word kind of back on our radar. Is, you were talking about how the villagers and the illagers have these biases of each other and what they thought each other were or were not. Now, with that, what does that really mean about the problem surrounding a bias? Or what's the challenge when we hold these biases so close to our hearts? Let's see what everybody wants to say. So let us know, help Coulter out here. What is the problem with bias?
I really liked how Miss Grimes' grade 5-6 class just chimed in. That was a really nice answer for the previous question. And Miss Toll, thank you for chiming in. And we'll see what answers come through for this question. What is the problem with bias? We'll give a second to have that discussion if you are in class. Yeah, I liked Akshia. I hope you pronounced that correct. you had a great answer that it doesn't allow you to others to communicate. And communication and listening really helps with education, and educating yourself about the biases is really important. And Piper, the problem with bias is you don't really know who they are, right? So you're completely right, Piper. We don't really, but the problem with the bias is that we don't really know, we don't really have that full understanding. So it's so important to be educated about that and why we have that bias. And Chenille, the problem with bias is that it's unfair. Yeah, great answer. And Ryan, the problem is that they think that their talents are better than the others. Great point, Ryan. And Callan writes, biases will divide us from countries to smaller groups, then smaller communities, and even smaller groups from those communities. You're right, they begin to divide us because we're not fully aware of why we have this bias, and we've rushed to judgment about these things. So it's so important that we don't rush to judgment. And Angelina from class 6C, the problem with bias is that you might hurt someone because it's probably what you heard or saw, what the thing or person, oh, sorry, I got to get this over. The problem with bias is that you might hurt someone because it's probably what you heard or what you saw about the thing or person, and then you will either get a negative or positive thoughts about them. Also coming in with another strong answer is Agura from Mrs. Wheeler's class. If you have bias, eventually it'll be a large problem for one side, but bad for another too. Both will get good and bad. But if you don't have bias, you can help them and both will get good and good. Good explanation. I like that.
I really like that. That's a good comparison too. Coulter, there are so many great thoughts and reflections here. And I kind of want to see if we can put a nice bow on this and kind of bring it back to why we are all here right now. Because the reason why we were able to be inside your classroom and providing this lesson is because this week is called Computer Science Education Week, where you and your teacher and your fellow students are exploring what it means to be a computer scientist and to code. But like, what does this have to do with our big words of diversity, inclusion, and bias? What does this have to do with life in school or outside of school? And there's nobody better on our team to share about this than Mike hanging out with us right now. So Mike, I'm going to invite you back up here. And can you kind of like share with us why coding? Why do we want to know about this stuff?
Well, I'm going to start off with some shout outs actually, because what I saw during the chat today in the live Q&A and on the Google form, on the forum there, it was so collaborative. People were problem solving. People were having an issue and then not saying, okay, I'm going to quit. You had that growth mindset. And for me, that coding piece is there's more than one way to get the right answer. So a lot of these people, so many more people today, but room 06B from Peel District, awesome job. Simran, Jason, Suhan, Mrs. North, Leslie Davidson, those are just some people right now today that for me that showed that growth mindset. So why do we code? We code because there's so many different answers that you can get to one question. From one question, many different answers. And I know when I was in elementary school, I would get a math test back or a science test back, and maybe I didn't show all the steps or all the work, and I didn't get a mark that I felt like I deserved, or maybe I didn't know all of the steps. But I never got the opportunity to try 3, 5, 10, 20 times right away. And what coding gives you that opportunity, as you saw today, is you're not going to get it right the first time. And that's okay. But you can try again and again and again to get that answer correctly. None of us are going to have this expertise right away when we try something new. I know I don't, and I'm sure lots of your teachers and you students as well, you don't. Another reason why I really love coding, it's a different language as well. It's picking up that language, and you're born with Wi-Fi in your like you were born with the internet. I wasn't. I'm older than Minecraft, old as dirt, some people might say. So the fact that you have this opportunity right now to make all of these mistakes, be able to search things up on the internet, and really have that learning and the collaborative piece too, I thought was absolutely fantastic. So make mistakes, learn from them, try again, and that's really all we can ask for in school, in coding, and in life as well. So thank you, Emily, and thank you, Coulter.
All right, that was a perfect closing on why coding. Coulter, I know that we've started some of these super important conversations. What's your suggestion on maybe like continuing these after this lesson, or maybe later this week, or maybe later this month?
Yeah, so you can definitely look for something coming your way, teachers, with a follow-up about this and about how we can sort of continue this important conversation about diversity and inclusion. We have some follow-up activities. We also encourage you to continue coding and completing these activities through Minecraft and through Minecraft education. There's so many different activities that your students can complete, and that students, you can complete these on your own as well. Remember that you have the sign. If you're able to sign in today, you should be able to sign in tomorrow as well, and in the future. So continue using this platform to start thinking outside the box a little bit, and start using Minecraft as a way to sort of guide your behaviors a little bit too, and how coding can do that, as Mike talked about it, about how we can have this growth mindset and that problem-solving mindset, where we're able to combat and problem solve some of our issues. And I think that's such an important part that Mike mentioned as well. So I do have one more question for you, and it's super important because we want to know, and it helps us in the future as well, but we really want to know what your favorite part about today was. Let us know in that form. Give us a shout. We'll give you a shout out if we're going to get tons of answers. So we'll do our best to give you some shout outs. But let us know in the form. What was your favorite part about today's workshop or today's lesson? Maybe something that you learned, something that's unique, something that you're going to share with your friends, your family, maybe a teacher.
And Coulter, as all of our Rockstar students are over 500 classes still hanging out with us an hour and a half later, are answering in that form what their favorite part was. What I'm curious, because you completed so many challenges today, what was your favorite part of today?
I personally liked I love these conversations. It's so important to have these types of conversations. And I think my favorite part of the coding piece was the coding of the beet farm, because I thought it was so important to see that they had this misconception, this misunderstanding of this Ravager, of this, what they titled the beast, and that it was the only animal that they could, in their mind, think of that would make the destruction of their beet farm. But once you built the fence, you noticed that it was the foxes were the ones that were eating the beets and not this Ravager. So I thought that was such an important connection to having this mindset, that almost this fixed mindset, which the students at Regent Park Public School mentioned about not having a fixed mindset and about having this open mind and this growth mindset and getting to know people and getting to understand where they're coming from. And that's so important. So that was probably my favorite part. And as I see some classes coming in about their favorite parts, like Nathan, my favorite part was learning about the hour of code. And that's okay, Nathan. That's great that you were able to do that. Thank you for chiming in. Naveed, or Nava, sorry. I really liked the morning where they could be creative and make your own house. That's great that you're able to join on both activities. So thank you so much for being able to do that and experience some coding for your first time too. That's amazing. Miss McGlynn, you guys have been so great in our chat today. Thank you very much. Building and coding, I'm sure you pulled your class, building and hanging out with friends in Minecraft, and time to build and code freely. That's awesome. And Mr. Ricknoff's class, we learned a lot about coding. Thank you so much for being here. Miss B's class with Maya's in it. Thank you for being here. Learned about some coding. Wow, we've got so many. I can't even keep up. Miss Budlowski's class. The best part was that when we had time to play around in the creative world and building and creating and coding as well. Awesome. Thank you so much. I liked Adil, who liked the Q&A because it was fun answering questions and guessing things. Awesome. We're happy that you had fun doing this, right? Minecraft is so much fun, and it's got so many great connections in your world, in your classroom, in everyday life. So it really does have a really nice piece here.
All right, Coulter, I'm going to pop in. Will you kind of take a drink, grab a breath, because we're going to do our final shout out call. So make sure your answers to what your favorite part of today's lesson is in that form. But because we are at the end of the lesson, students, if you are in your classroom with your teacher, you're going to look up and look at your teacher and say, hey, what are we doing next? I know some of you are off for nutrition break or recess. This might be the end of your day for some of you. Some of you are off to phys ed or maybe another math class. And if you are a student who's learning with us virtually, this is a great time to go check your team or your Google Classroom to see what your next step is, or to reach out to your teacher and say, hey, I just rocked our Minecraft lesson. What's my next thing I'm going to learn with? So go and connect with your teacher. Coulter, I'm going to give you 60 seconds to rhyme off as many final shout outs before we close off our Thursday with over 2,000 classes all day with us. Like crazy numbers, both here in our English track, but we also have amazing students over in our French workshop. So there have 2,000 Canadian classes joining us today. Coulter, you got 60 seconds to give all of your goodbyes. Your timer, take that deep breath, Coulter, begins now.
Okay, so again, thank you so much, everybody. I love that Jeff Malone has liked everything today, and Anwar, that was great, and Liliana, that you enjoyed helping your friends today, which was great that you were able to do that. And Shahij, I hope I pronounced that correct, and Dave, which was great, and Rawan, and Surat, and SW, thank you very much. How he enjoyed how coding was so interactive and interesting in Minecraft. That's great. And Alliston from Union Smart Rocks 4, that's great. And Savrine and Katie, and let me scroll down a little bit, and Oliver and Leo from Gadstone and Grayson, and wow, we got so many here. I can't get to everybody. And Sunny, I like that coding where the villagers saw the Ravengers weren't scary. That was an important part. Great. I'm happy you saw that too. And Connor and Jaden. And as I keep going down, Charlene, thank you very much for participating in our chat today. And Claire and William and Connor and Amaya. And I keep scrolling down.
5 seconds.
And Addison and Declan and Sydney and Nadine and Suleiman, thank you so much for being here. And Andy and Madame Hendrickson. We'll end with
I
that.
think that's a perfect way to end it. Ladies and gentlemen, students and teachers, we are at the very end. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Go connect with your teacher. Let him or her know that you are done and you're ready for your next step. Coulter, will you sign us off?
Yeah, don't forget to talk to your teachers about your next steps. Happy birthday to Lucy, and thanks so much, everybody, for coming out today. We hope to see you again. If we run these sessions again, we can't wait for you to join us. Have a great afternoon, and we'll see you soon.